basement in Connecticut. Welcome back to GMA. As hurt and anger have swept across this country over the past week, we have also seen so many poignant moments amid the chaos. One of them we found in Charlotte, North Carolina. 3 generations of black men sharing this emotional exchange at a protest. Curtis Hayes Jr. seen in the video urging the future of the fight for change to find a better way. We're going to talk to Curtis in just a moment. First, take more look at that video. Raw emotion and pain on full display in protest all across the country.
I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it.
This powerful video from Charlotte, North Carolina, with over 22 million views. It starts with a young black man attempting to calm down an angry protester.
Always standing around for Kumbaya. Ain't nobody coming to protect us.
A heart-wrenching moment shared between 3 strangers from 3 different generations. 16, 31, and 45 years old.
He's 16. He's 16. He's 16. What we gonna do? You tell me. What we gonna do? This ain't the way.
The man in the middle, activist Curtis Hayes Jr., with a passionate plea.
That you see right now, it's gonna happen 10 years from now. 10 years. You're gonna be right here too. But he also got so what I need y'all to do right now at 16 is come up with a better way. Cause how we doing it, it ain't working. Y'all come up with a better way. Cause we ain't doing it. Oh my God.
That 31-year-old man in that video, Curtis Hayes Jr., is now joining us live from Charlotte, North Carolina. Sir, thank you so very much. Your passion is so apparent. Tell us what came over you to speak out as you did in that moment, Curtis.
First off, Ms. Robin, it's an honor. I thank you so much for having me. At that moment, I was looking at the 16-year-old young man, and I told myself, like, dang, I was once him. And then I looked at the 45-year-old man and said, I'm going to once be him. And I just came over with so much emotion because at that moment, when I inserted myself, I understood that, wow, this is 3 generations that is out here that is protesting and fighting for the same equality and for the same change that my ancestors once did. So it just overwhelmed and overfilled my heart with anger and hurt and just frustration and confusion. So that's what happened at that moment.
Yeah, 3 generations, and the 3 of you coming at it from a different direction. That 16-year-old, and that was beautiful when you pulled him to you and how respectful he was to you. Raymond Curry is the young man's name, and you said to him, you've got to find a better way. So to you, Curtis, what is that better way?
The better way is not, turning your anger and creating rage. It's turning your anger and turning it into the fire and the desire to understand what is needed in order to cause the change. So when I told him that, after that moment, I continued to speak with him, and I'm just telling him, yo, educate your mind on the laws, educate your mind on legislation, educate your mind on the Constitution, know what your rights are as a United States citizen. That is how you are going to get change, is when you go and understand that and you go and you fight to change that. That is where the change is going to come.
And you have stayed in touch with him. You are a man of your word. I know you've been texting back and forth with Raymond, and that he sent you a text and he was saying, we're doing it peacefully and we're still not seeing change. And the anger was boiling up in him again. And there's some young people who feel that way. So what do you say to them to help them channel that anger in a different direction?
At that age, 16, 17, you have so much life ahead of you. Don't throw it away by, again, turning your anger and your confusion into rage. My uncle is out in Houston. He made a powerful statement. He said, do not become criminals while fighting for change. And I think when you're out there, you're protesting, and if you allow that anger to overtake you, it can turn into rage, and you'll do things outside of your character at that moment that could possibly deter you and hurt you for the rest of your life.
I hear you have 2 little ones at home, including a 5-year-old son.
Oof.
What do you say to him? What do you say to your 5-year-old?
You know, when he first came out, I'm the type of man, I'm always going to tell him who he is. I always make sure I tell him that he's valuable. I always make sure I tell my daughter that you are a black woman in the world. You are the most important thing that God could have ever placed on this earth. So, you know, when you have this conversation, you worry about, like, dang, I don't want him to grow up and disobey the law. I don't want him to grow up and disobey the laws of the land, but at the same time, I have to tell him to continue to fight. Continue to fight at all times. Do not do it under chaos and the destruction, but do it the right way. Make them fear you. Make them feel you in your conviction, in your voice.
Yes. I'm telling you, the pictures that we've been showing on screen, so precious with your children. And I know your 10-year-old daughter, she always worries about you. She wants you to stay safe when you're out there. We all do. You have a platform right here in Good Morning America. What is your message to people of all races right now, Curtis?
So I have 2 messages, Ms. Robin. The first one is that all across the board, we have to check our peers. And yes, I did say check our peers. Whether you're black or white, if you see your black peer that is getting out of hand, that is getting where they are causing chaos and ruckus in your movement, check them. Because I'm going to check them. But I also send that message to my white peers, my white men, my white women. You have to check your colleagues. You have to check your peers. We are at a time where you have to step up and you have to check them. You know, the next one is we have to all continue to try to understand one another. If you do not understand me as a black man, if I do not understand you as a white man, we'll never have that dialogue where we can sit and say, wow, thank you, I understand you, and I will try to make a change within myself first, and then within my communities and my homes and my city and my states, and also challenge your city leaders. Challenge them. We have protests for change in all states across the nation. It is time for not only us to step up as a black race and as a white race, but challenge every leader across every county, across every town, across every state, because it is time for them to take accountability, because the United States of America is now becoming where we are unified as a people, and we will not back down because we won't change. And it starts with everyone from the lowest level all the way up to the highest. And everyone needs to hold everyone accountable at all times and make sure that we check each other at all times. And make sure that not only we do that, but love on each other at all times.
At all times. Not the black-white race, not the white race. It's the human race. It really is.
Yes,
and that's what we have to know, that we have more in common than not. So let's not focus on the differences, but embrace the similarities that we have and celebrate that. 31 years old. All right. You're a wise man for 31. And I appreciate you for sharing your wisdom with us on this Wednesday. And very proud of you. Extremely proud of you.
Thank you so
Very
much.
grateful to have you here on GMA. You take care, you and your family. And listen to your daughter. Listen to that little 10-year-old,
Yes, ma'am.
your son as well.
Yes,
All
ma'am.
right.
Thank you, Ms. Robin. It's an honor.
All right. You're very welcome. All right.